Hello. I'm going to take you on a little walk with me, doing something that after work, usually, or a weekend. And that's coming out to these woods that are owned by the state and harvesting a little apple wood that I like to cook with. You know, it's really good, imparts a little bit of a nice flavor to the meat, chicken, whatever you're cooking. And it makes for a good bed of coals. It's kind of slow to catch fire, but once it does, it really makes for a really good bed of cooking coals. There used to be an apple orchard here a long time ago. And there were some farms here too, in upstate New York, central New York. And New York State bought this land a little over 100 years ago. And this used to be a field with apple trees, probably some dairy cattle. And so all these other trees grew up much taller than apple trees and strangled out the light, so the apple trees died slowly. I mean, some of these, you know, there's still a little bit of life left in some of these. I really like these trees. There's something about old apple trees. The way they twist. Now, I've cut a lot of limbs off of this one with a bow saw or this electric chainsaw. And it is legal. I checked the laws. You're allowed to take dead wood, you know, but you're not allowed to cut anything living. And nobody, I'm the only person I know that does this. I mean, there's a good piece there, all dead. And you go out here to this little further out, and it's a vast swamp out here with beaver dam and such. And so there's the trees end. So the apple trees towards the edge here are still somewhat alive because they can get the light. The only thing growing out beyond this is sumac, and then it's a swamp. And if I walk much further, it's getting pretty mucky. It's one thing I like about living in upstate New York as opposed to the south, because I wouldn't be walking through this down south. I'd have been bit by a copperhead or something by now. The only thing you got to worry around here now is ticks. But I've treated I put on some permethrin, taken some precautions. Didn't used to have to worry about ticks years ago, but now you do. I don't let that stop me. I was out here today and I actually met, walking out here in the woods, of all things, a guy I haven't seen in 10 or 15 years, haven't talked to him in 15 years. And that's Reverend Hampton, a preacher that I knew, minister. And we had a good long talk, mostly about God, Jesus, and life. And he was an older man than me, but he's in pretty good shape still. And, you know, he's telling me, you know, don't give up on life. And I said, I can't do that. I represent God. You know, I've professed to be a Christian. I can't give up. Can't let him down the name. Like the Lord's Prayer, we walk through the guy, you know, leads us to the paths of righteousness for his name's sake, for the Lord's name's sake. And that said, I told him he needed to go on Amazon, buy some of these bug net hats. As silly as they look, he was swatting at mosquitoes and deer fly, not me though. So, well, I better get to cutting. I only take the dead stuff. I'm very careful not to take anything living. And there's plenty of it out here. The farmers, a long time ago, planted apple trees everywhere. How can you go wrong planting apple trees? You know, dead ones there. How can you go wrong? A horse will eat them, cows eat them. You can make cider with it, bake pies. You know, you can't go wrong planting apple trees. All right, well, take care.
All right, I've got a little extra for
video I made today, just some random video of me out in the woods here where I live in central New York, cutting firewood. Specifically for me, it's, come on baby, light. Thank you. Sweet talking, I guess. I like old apple wood. I mean, apple trees that have been dead for quite a few years, but they're still standing. Not on the ground where they rot pretty quick. And the wood, to me, I know it gets compact, kind of compressed, the grain, and it takes it longer to light, but once the wood gets burning, it really makes for a good bed of coals. And I happen to be lucky that the people that settled this town, the white people that is, you know, 150, 200 years ago, they planted apple trees all over the place. And up, not far out of my village, there's a pretty big tract of land, actually quite a few tracts of land that New York State bought over 100 years ago. Story has it the lands weren't fit to farm on. Even though it's very good farmland around here, up there apparently it's lye deficient. And I talked to my county historian on it, actually, on the state lands. New York State bought lands. They bought these lands around 1900, bought out all these farms. I mean, there were churches, schools, farms, blacksmith shops, and they bought all that property out because this areas was those lands, the farms were built around 1820 to 1870, and the farmland was quickly farmed out. You couldn't grow anything on it for a while. And the farmers, people were swindling immigrants coming off the boats, you know, in New York City back in the days of sailing ships. And they'd say, hey, I'll sell you this turnkey, ready to run farm, you know, in upstate New York. And everybody knows the farmland's really good in central New York. And it is, generally speaking, very good. And, you know, these immigrants coming from Europe or, you know, Ireland, wherever, they would spend their entire life savings that they brought over with them and buy this farm, you know, that's about 250 miles away from New York City, up into upstate New York, central New York in my case, thinking, you know, it had a standing house, a barn, a well, everything you need. Just go right in and start living your new life in America. So they spend all their money on these farms, and they come up here and they quickly find out that the farmland, unlike most of the farmland around here, farmland in these lands you couldn't farm much of anything on it. Lye deficient, lye, property of the soil. And so there was a swindle going on. And there was a lot of complaints to Albany to make it stop, and the state bought all this land out, you know, around about 1900, and, you know, everybody living on there had to go somewhere else. And around 1930, they tore down all the houses and burned all the houses and farms down and pushed them into their foundations. And so all you see up there now is stone, mossy stone foundations. And, you know, there's some dirt roads that crisscross through there that never were paved and never were nothing but seasonal roads. They don't even plow them in the winter. So it's just kind of places where people like me go up there that I don't own any land to speak of. So people like me go up there to wander around now and then, but not too many people go up there. I'm getting to why I'm saying this, honestly. I go up there just about every day when the weather's nice and cut the apple wood, because I like to sit out every night when the weather's nice and build a fire and cook over it and just kind of mellow out. It's my routine. And well, today it rained and rained and rained after I got home. So I told myself when the weather's not good, I'm going to make videos. Well, the weather's been pretty darn good, except it hasn't been tonight. So I'm going to make a video and add it to the one I made today with my cell phone, which I wish I'd turned my phone that way so you get a full screen, but I didn't. So it is what it is. Well, I'm out there in the woods, and alright, I'm getting to why I'm making this video. I've never had, very, very rarely, and not never, but I think the only people I ever met out there, you gotta understand, I go out there pretty much every day and spend some time cutting wood and just wandering around, taking pictures or talking to God or whatever, you know. Riding my motorcycle sometimes through there. I've got a dirt bike. I met a woman on a horse drinking beer about a month ago when we talked. I met my friend's teenage son out there and we talked briefly. And that's it for the whole year. And today I'm out in the woods and walking down the road, and here's the road. I took this picture just yesterday because, you know, I'm out there every day. So here's the road that this happened on. Actually, he was walking down this road and he saw me in the woods cutting wood, or heard me. And the name of this road's Blumenthol Road, but there's no traffic on it or anything. It's pretty abandoned, very much so. And you know, he says, "Hey," I don't know why he did this. He says, "Are you all right in there?" I don't know why he did that. And so I said, "Yeah." And I walked out to see who it was, picture off. And there stands Reverend Hampton in the road. And I was really shocked to see him. And I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He said, "I'm just cutting apple wood. I like to use it to, you know, cook over my fire." I said, "Oh, Reverend Hampton." He says, "Hey, Tim." He recognized me. I haven't seen the guy. I haven't talked to him about 15 years. And I was really shocked to see him. And we started talking about God and life. And I've always kind of really, he's a very meek, humble person, this guy. I mean, he has a ministry. His ministry is he goes to prisons and gives the word of God in prisons and ministers to people locked up in prisons. And I always thought he was a very humble, honest person. I admired that in him. Not the Joel Osteen type that, you know, preach riches and money and life of, you know, wealth and comfort, you know, which I don't think that's not the example Jesus Christ and his disciples lived at all. But yet, you know, so I really admire humility and meekness out of a man of God and, of course, honesty. So we talked about God and about life, and he encouraged me to hang in there. I didn't tell him any problems I had. I didn't just, you know, I told him how I lived alone with my dog, and I didn't necessarily like living alone, but there must be a reason for it, or God wouldn't allow it to happen. And, you know, I'm going through some problems in life. I know he's had his share too, without getting into those. I know he's had some hardships, and, you know, he really encouraged me today to hang in there. No matter what happens, you know, keep the faith, hang in there. Trust God, no matter what happens. And I honestly don't think that it was a coincidence that he met me out there today. It might have been, but I've never seen him out there, and not at all. If I see people out there, it's usually the same people, you know, but I don't know. I don't think it was a coincidence, because lately, and I'm not going to get into my woes, we all have them. I know people that have some really hard problems on them now. I know somebody that's dealing with a suicide in their group, you know, somebody close to them, and they're struggling hard with that. And I know some people that are dealing with some pretty bad illnesses, and everybody has problems. So, you know, I've been going through a kind of a valley in life for a while, and I've been wondering, where's God in all this? You know, I've told these stories on here about my encounters with God and his angels and such. But, you know, I'm going through a desert in life, it seems, and where's God in all this? I trust, I have faith in God that God is with me. But I'm not having these moments, that, you've heard on this channel and the earlier stories 1 through 16. And those didn't happen to me all the time in my earlier life either. Or to be 1 through 1,000. No, I get 16, 17 stories, directly about that. Where's God in all this? See, just sometimes you're going through a desert in life, and it seems like you're going through it all by yourself. And it's just a struggle every day to get through each day. And the Bible said Jesus was a man of sorrows. I'll put that verse up at the end of this. I like to be sure not to mislead, so if I say the Bible said something, I'm going to look it up before I post this. So I'm just sharing that with you. I do believe there's a very big chance that the Spirit moved Reverend Hampton to walk down Dumpling Hill Road today and to call out to me in the woods, which I thought was strange too. Because I was well into the woods, when he called, "Hey, are you all right out there?" And which was kind of strange, and I thought, because usually people just, if you encounter somebody, you don't know who they are. You don't know. Some guy in the woods with a chainsaw skulking around. So I don't think it was a coincidence. God uses people to help us out. I don't think not always is He's going to take our burdens away from us that we carry, but He will help us, carry those burdens. And I think today, him sending Reverend Hampton out there to talk to me and encourage me in the woods out there, way out there, I thought it was worth sharing with you. And let's continue to encourage each other. Because, maybe I encouraged him today. Because we had a good talk, really had a good visit today. And I was wearing a mosquito netting hat, which I told him, you need to get one of these. They look pretty silly, but you don't have to worry about any deer flies or any of that stuff with that on. And I bet he did. I bet he ordered one when he got home. So that's all. I just wanted to add this to the video. I posted the video earlier, but I took it down because I decided I wanted to share with you my thoughts about it not being a coincidence that Reverend Hampton came down that remote road when I was back in there cutting wood. And more than that, he called out to me. I don't even know how he saw me because I was in the woods a ways. But maybe I was making some noise or something. I don't know. I wasn't running the saw at the time. Yeah. All right, that's all. Anything else? No. No, I'm going to make another video tonight. One I've been really mulling over, so about the two spirits concept. Really kicking that around. All right, that's it. Thank you, and hang in there, keep the faith, and let's continue to encourage each other. I got to tell you, I just a loner, just a guy. There's nothing. I'm not a preacher or anything. But the Lord works in mysterious ways. So good night, take care, or good day, whichever, good morning, whatever it is. Thank you.